Hey guys, welcome back. This is another video in the HTML5 series. In this one, we'll be looking into forms in HTML. So forms are something that are used in like everyday life. You come across them whenever you open a web page. So a form is something that is used to send information from the front end to the back end. So to simplify it even further, basically it takes like whatever information, let's say you search something on Google. The information you type in that search bar is like a form bar. So whatever you type in, it's taken in from the front end, which is displayed to you. It's sent to somewhere else, and then from there the website is shown to you, which is made in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or any of them. So that's how forms work. Without any further ado, let's jump into the video and learn more about forms. First, let's understand what is the internet and how the forms work. Now, when you think of internet, you can think of internet as a network of computers put together, which like send and receive information among themselves. And to do that, the language that they use is called as HTTP request. Now, for that HTTP request to be working, you need a form which will like take information from you and it will send to another computer which will read that information and which will send the relevant information to the first computer, and then the first computer will display it to you. That's how HTTP request works and the form works in basic. Previously, we had finished off with the table HTML page. Now let's go and create a new file, and I'll call that as forms.html because we'll be mainly focusing on the forms this time. And we'll give the basic body structure. We'll name this, title this web page as forms, and let's go ahead and we'll write the basic body of it. Whenever you write the forms, there is a form tag to it in HTML5, which is written like this form. That's the opening tag and that's the closing tag. And let me open this with live server. Now whatever you write inside the form will be displayed to you as normal text. Let's say I go and write an h1 saying hi or hello world. So I go and write h1 and I say hello world. Okay, that's just normal text displayed to you. You must have remembered that previously I said what form does is it takes information from you and sends it to another computer and receives data from that computer and then displays it. So basically you need two actions for this. One is that action which says you have to send this information, and another the action which says from to where do you have to send this information to. So for that you have two attributes. One is the action attribute, which is written like this, and other is the method attribute. Okay, action attribute tells which file do you have to send it to or which computer kind of thing. So I'll just put it as example HTML, although I don't have a file called example HTML, but I'll just say you have to send it to this HTML file. So, and this method is the method which says okay, you have to send it or you have to receive it. That kind of attribute is this. So to send it, you say post. Post is the tag which you use to say you have to send data to this file. So you say post. Once you save it, there's nothing for now. To learn more about the forms, we have to learn about the input tag. Let's go ahead and let's look at the input tag. So first we'll remove this h1 and we'll look at the input tag. For example, let's look at the input tag where you type in your username and your password. So how does that work? So you put an input tag here. An input tag is a self-closing tag. You don't have a opening or a closing tag like that. And for that input, yeah, it has to know like what it's doing. The first thing says what kind of type you can type inside this input, and the second says what this has to be stored to. So first, let's go ahead and type the type of thing which you can do. So let's say type, and we say it to be text. So once you save it, you see there's the input out here, and out here you can only type in text. So if you type in any of them, this is all considered as text. Let's say for example your username, that kind of thing. That's the text. and whatever you type in, it has to be stored somewhere. And now whatever you type in here is called as the value, and where should the value be stored, and that is called as the name. So if you say name is equal to username, let's say, and you save it, and you type in something like, for example, let's say I love coding, and since I type I love coding, now that is the value, and that is stored in the username. So basically that's written as username colon, and it's written I love coding. That's the username of that person. But people need to know that this is the username, right? So you put a label in front of this input tag. So you call that as a label, and then you add here username. Okay. Now there's one thing which you have to add here, which is called as a for the label and ID for the name. Okay. Now the label should know that it's working for this particular input. Like if you put in this input, it has to be stored under this label. So for that, what you do is you give a name here. Like let's say I say username itself out here, and then the same name I have to give under ID out here. So it knows that this is the corresponding to this. So you have that link in sync with each other. So that's the username. Now let's say a person does not know what to type here. This would help him to do that by saying, okay, you have to type in the username out here, and that's stored here. Okay, now that's the username, but you see out here whatever you type is shown to you. But when you're doing for username, that's what it works. But when you're doing for the password, that's not how it works. For the password, it's given in asterisks or in dots. So for that, we do the same thing. So we go ahead, let's type in label, and for is for the password, and we give out here password. And now an input, the type is a password. So if you save it, and let's say you go ahead and type something, it's not shown out here. So now we have said that type is the password. Now we have to say where it has to be stored. Like earlier we did name and ID. ID is password, whatever is given out here as password. That's the same thing, has to be the ID. So then there should be no spelling errors between the for and the ID. They should be exactly the same. And your name can be whatever you wish it to be. So I'll just give it to be pass. I won't say password. So there's a difference between the name and the ID. So like similarly, I'll remove the name out here as the user. So this is the basic form where you have the username, let's say Dan, and you give a password of something, whatever, say you give any kind of thing, it is not shown to anyone. So that's how passwords work in HTML5. So now I have like a simple thing called a pizza land, and let's go ahead and let's create a form out here. And you have learned divs, so like that there's something called as a section. So I'm going to split this form into different sections. So for first, let's go ahead and let's write a section. So first we'll have a input where we ask the user like what kind of crust do they want. So for the question, we'll put it in the label. So we say label, and for would be base, so or the crust. So we say base, and we ask the person what kind of crust, and we give it a question mark. Now people can input their value in an input tag. So we say input tag, and this is the text obviously. That name would be crust, and the ID would be same as the for base. Once you save it, it gives it out here. What kind of crust, and you type in your text here. So let me just zoom in a bit so it's shown to you clear. Yeah. Now you have what kind of crust, and you can type in your text here. This is the first section. The next we'll go ahead and we'll write a section. Next we'll go ahead and we'll write a section where we ask the user like how many slices do you want in that pizza. Like we cut it in basis of the number of slices. So we say a label, and the for would be slices. We ask how many slices. and in the input we'll be using a number. So that's no more a text, that's a number. So we'll write a number, and this number, the name would be slice, and ID would be same as the for, which would be slices. And in the like if you save it, you cannot go ahead and write any kind of text. Like let's say I'm typing G, I can't do it, but if I go ahead and type 5, I can do that. And you see this arrow mark on the side, it just helps in increasing it by 1. So if you want your slices to be lesser than 1, which is not possible, but let's say you want the stepping to be just 0.5, then what you say is step and you give it as 0.5. so once you save it, whenever you increase it, it only increases by 0.5, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. By default, the step is set to be 1, but if you want to specify any kind of step, like 0.5 or 2 or any of them, you can do that. So you can increase it by 1 by default. Now let's go ahead and let's do another kind of numbering. Like for example, your range. So let's say we ask the user how spicy they want their pizza layer to be. This is not something which people usually do, but I'm just taking this way out. So we give a section, and inside here we give the label, and this is for spicy. We ask them how spicy. So we give them a range where we say the least on one side and hot spicy on the other side. So we give a span text and we say least on one side, and the other side we give it as hot. So that will be like just text on both ends of the thing. Once you save it, you can see that how spicy and least is on one side and hot is on the other side. We'll add a break tag here. Now let's go ahead and let's add a input type, which is like a range. So if it's on the side of the least, it means that you have least spices, and if it's on the side of the hot, you add a lot of spices. So for that, what you do is you type input, and the type of that is called as a range. Now once you save it, you can see that it's like a regulator kind of thing, like a volume increase button, like the range. So if it's here, it's least, then not least, a bit more, but that's hot. Like the number, we can also add a step for this. So let's say its least is 0 and hot is 5. So you start from 0, then you go to 1, then you go to 2, 3, 4. That's how it should be, the increase. It should be out here you can just drop anywhere, but through that they will not be able to know. So you want to have a way through which people can know that this is the range of it. So let's go ahead and do that. So the min, we'll keep it to be 0, and the max to be 5. So once you save it, this like it moves only 1. It's easier to see. Okay, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 4 and 5. So that's it's easy to see. And when you type in input and a label, you have to add a ID and a for. So for is there, so we'll add ID equals spicy, and the other thing is its name. So we'll go ahead and we'll add name, and we'll say spice to just differentiate between ID and name. Now once you save it, that's there. You have the name, which is spice, and depending on the number you put in here, right now it's a 3, this is 4, this is 5. So through this you can say what it's gonna be. Now what we'll work on is the toppings, like different kind of toppings, and this is gonna be a checkbox, because there are a lot of items people can choose from this, that they want this one or they don't want this one. That's what we're gonna work with now. Again, we'll add a section. So now we have a p tag, and we'll say choose your pizza topping. So we'll go ahead and we'll add 3 things out here as a checkbox kind of effect. So you can check if you want this, you can tick them, or if you don't want, you can just leave them off. So for that, we'll add 3 labels, and the first one will be pepperoni, and we'll add out here pepperoni. Okay, that's there. And this is a checkbox, so we'll put input, and we'll give it a type of checkbox. So if you see, you'll have it like a clickable one. So once you click on it, it should be stored somewhere. So the name of this would be a topping, because all of these are just toppings, and the ID would be same as the label. So that's it. Once if you click on this, then it would say topping pepperoni is added. So similarly, we'll go ahead and we'll add extra cheese too for this. We'll say cheese, and we'll put out here extra cheese. And this input will also be a checkbox. The name of this would again be topping, and the ID of this would be cheese. Okay, you can add a BR tag if you want it separately. So I'll add a BR tag out here, so it breaks it off. Okay. Now I'll add another BR tag out here. Next thing we'll have is anchovy. So we'll put the label. The input again for this is a checkbox, and the name of this also is topping, and the ID is anchovy. You save it. Okay. Now you can click on one, two of them, or all three of them. You can do that, or you can just leave with one, or you can leave with none. So this will just say the topping is this. So that's what this thing does. Now this is checkbox where you have more than one options. But let's say you want to have just either one of them. Like if it's a yes or no, you just want to choose true or false or something like that. You can't have both of them, right? So in that case, what would you do? That's what we're going to look at. So out here, the next thing we're going to do, as I said, is something which you just choose one of them which is given, and that's called as a radio box. So P, and we'll say, do you want mushrooms? Because let's say this place out here, wherever we are working at, has mushrooms, like that land or the land base is famous for mushrooms. So we ask them, do you want mushrooms? And we give them two options, yes or no. That's the input. And the type of that is not a checkbox, that's called a radio box. So we do that. And the name of this is mushrooms, and that's a yes or no. Now this is the yes option, so we'll say the ID to be yes and the value to be yes. So now let's say I save it. You can see that, okay, sorry, this is not called a radio box, it's just called a radio. So if you save it, you'll have this. When you click on the first one, it means yes. So I'll have to put a text, like a label kind of thing, to say that this is for yes. So label and for is yes, and I'll add yes out here. We'll save it. Okay, so if you click on this, it means it's a yes. And similarly, we'll do it for a no. This input, the type is a radio. Name is a mushroom. The ID is a no, and the value is a no. So you save it. So you can only click one of these. Like let me try clicking no to when I have yes on. So it just changes. You can't have both of them clicked. You can just have one of them. That's the radio, which is done. It's called the radio box. Sorry about that. Now next we'll be doing is called as a drop down list, which is like you give them various options. So let me show how that works. Give the section, and then we'll give a label, and this label is for the type of pizza that you want. So we'll say type, and we'll ask a question of what type of pizza. This is a drop down list where you can have a lot of options. So how this works is you'll have drop down, and then inside the drop down tag you have options. So this select, and select will have a name and the ID. So this is pizza type, the name, and then the ID is same as the for. So type. Inside this we'll have options. So we'll say option, and the value is the type which you give. Like whatever you give here as the name which you want to display is the same as the value which you're gonna give. So we'll give three options, so people can choose from these three. So we'll give three options, and three of them like Chicago. Yeah, we'll give one as Chicago. We'll give another option of New York style. So the name, pizza type, is equal to Chicago or New York style, whichever one. And this New York style is what will be displayed to the viewer. We'll call this option, and the other one we'll give it as Greek. And now once I save it, you can see okay what type of pizza. You can choose from either one of these, so it becomes easier for people. Like when you have few options, this is. But what if you have like a list of options, like then countries? Let's say you have which country you're from and the country's list is given. So you'll have to go all the way down if you're from, let's say, Ukraine. So you'll have to go all the way to U and then find it if it's given in alphabetical order. But let's say we give the user this option where they type in, and then in the bottom the ones which are closer to there, like they type U and all the countries with U show below them, so they can have a filter kind of option out there while they type. So that's what you're going to look at next. Now let's write that. We'll write a section, and inside here we'll ask them the source. So we'll say label, and this is for the sources. So sources, and we'll add out here what sauce do you want. Now we'll add the input, and this input will not have a type out here because we're gonna, this is like a list, so we're gonna add a list kind of type. So we'll say list, and we'll give the list to be sources. We'll add the ID to be same as the for, so we'll say the ID to be source, and we'll say the name also to be source. Out here we'll add the list, which is a data list. So you add a data list, and you give the ID which is name as same as the list out there. So you give them sources. We'll give the closing tag, and inside the sources list we have to give an option. And similarly, where you did the select and options, we'll give out here also an option. So first one can be written as ketchup, let's say. The other one option, and we'll add mayonnaise, so it's just mayo. And we'll give an option of chili sauce. We'll add green chili sauce and the red chili sauce too. So we'll say green chili, and we'll give option, and we'll say red chili. You save it, you can see okay, you have sauces. So these are the 4 types. If you have various of them, you can do that. Let me go ahead and do it out here. We say chili. If you see, whatever ones had chili are just shown here, green chili and red chili. Apart from the ketchup and mayo, they are not shown. So you have only these 2 options given. Similarly, when you write for countries, you just start with Ukraine. So let's say UK, and then you get whatever countries which have U and K in their name. So you get those alone. You will not get something like Brazil or something which does not have a U or a K in its name. So that's how it works. Now so far you have seen some things which have just like a few limit to it. Like out here, how much ever text you write, you have a limit of only these much elements. I can like just not just like that keep on going in a straight line. So this is really hard, but so this is fine when you're writing small elements like what kind of crust, that's just a word or 2. So let's say we want the users to write a lot, just not just one line or something like that. So give us like real comments about the pizza, like in-depth comment. In that case, you'll be using something called as a text area. So for the text area, we'll again go ahead and we'll write a section, and inside that section we'll write label, and this is for comments. So let's say comment, and we give a question, comments about the pizza. We add a breaking tag, and then we'll have a text area. The text area is something where you can write a lot. So we'll put that as separate down below. So we write text area. So text area has name, which is where this comments has to be stored. So we write it as opinions, and the ID, which is same as the for. So we'll write comment. This columns and row determine like how big the text area has to be. So if you save it, you can see that the text area is pretty big. It's like 30 columns and 10 rows. So let me reduce this to be, let's say, 20 columns. So the width of it is reduced. But you can always increase it by using the bottom right icon up here. If you like make your cursor there, it will show that way to increase the size of it. So for the users to write a lot, we'll just keep it by 30 by 10. So users can write a lot more, and they can say, okay, we can write a lot in this. So we'll go ahead, we can write our own comments, like whatever we feel about it. Just not stop at one line or two lines. So we give them space to write. That's what the text area option is. This is also an input, but it does not have the input tag as others did. Now last you have is like the submit form. Like once you press this button, the whole form which you have written has to be submitted to the backend, so people can have a database and collect information about their pizza. And the submit button is a really simple one where you don't even have to write a section. You can just directly go, put an input, and the type to be submit. You'll just have a button which says submit, and you can click on it. It goes somewhere. If you just click on the submit, it will take you directly to the page where we mentioned out here called as example.html, where we store the information. This is how the forms is done. You learned about different types of inputs, starting from the text. Then this was the number, this was the range, this was the checkbox, then the radio, then the options list where you had different options, and this was a data list where you had various lists and you could like filter by writing. And this was a text area where you could give your comments and write a lot more, like a blog page kind of thing. We could write a lot more. And in the end, we finished off with the submit button, where by clicking on the submit button, you'll be taken to the page where the form was supposed to go, the action was supposed to do. That's what the submit button would do. So that's it from me in this video. I hope everyone has understood what we have done here. And if you have any doubts or anything, put it in the comment section. We'll come across it through some way or other. I'll put it in the comment section again, or I'll make a video if a lot of people have the same doubt. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching.